Tonight, we take you from the world of technology to the world of augmented reality, from the next generation of filmmakers to historic art in a modern world.
And an exclusive interview with USC film students on the realities of internships in the entertainment industry. How do you make it big in a town that keeps you small?
All that and more on tonight's episode of Trojan Vision's one and only entertainment news show, The Scoop. Alyssa, welcome back.
Thank you so much. It's great to be here.
Thanks for tuning in to The Scoop. I'm Jonathan Pelster. You may notice our usual host, Amby, isn't here today. Amby will unfortunately be gone for a couple weeks, but in her place is the incomparable Alyssa Heyer.
Thanks, Jonathan. I'm Alyssa Heyer, and it's great to be here. The Scoop is Trojan Vision's premier and only entertainment news show. We want to focus on uplifting the voices of young artists everywhere and spotlight exactly what the next generation of artistic talent is going to look like.
With that in mind, let's check in at the Los Angeles API Film Festival. With culture more than ever looking to uplift underrepresented artists, voices for Asian Pacific Islander Desi American rights and representation is on the rise.
When talking about the need for increased representation, where better to look than the filmmaking industry here in Hollywood, Los Angeles?
From September 23rd to October 2nd, Visual Communication held its 37th Los Angeles Asian Pacific Film Festival here in downtown LA. Visual Communication is a corporation that aims to support Asian American and Pacific Islander filmmakers and artists that seek to empower the community and challenge for representation.
The festival includes multiple films and documentaries that support the representation of API cultures in America in the festival. Also screens compilations of short films from local artists and filmmakers.
The event offers free screenings and exclusive events that highlight films or shorts with a Q&A panel session at the end.
This is not only a great opportunity for rising filmmakers to shine and voice their passion, it is also a chance for younger artists to meet those filmmakers and gain valuable experience.
Take, for example, the festival opener, Manzanar, Divergent, When Water Becomes Dust, about the indigenous experience, or Americanish, the first American Muslim rom-com directed by an American Muslim female filmmaker.
The event can best be summed up by a quote from the filmmaker behind Oh My Dating Hell, who said, quote, "I want to personally thank Visual Communications for the opportunity to showcase my project, but in particular, the kind, generous, and welcoming efforts and all the attention to detail you provided the filmmakers to make the festival as special and safe as possible, given the constraints of the pandemic. I had a wonderful time," end quote.
What did you think of that, Alyssa?
I loved it. I thought it was really interesting. Yeah, I got the chance to see a couple of videos. What about you?
Yeah, same. I thought it was really cool.
Perfect.
Well, anyways, there was one where it was a stop motion set to hip hop of like everyday professions that I thought was really interesting.
That's awesome. That sounds so cool. I'll have to check that one out. You'll have to send me the link.
For sure.
On the topic of inspiring artists close to home, let's take a look at Los Angeles-based new media artist Autumn Lepla.
Autumn Lepla is a mixed media portrait artist out of LA who's determined to revolutionize art with her augmented reality creations. After losing her 3 jobs due to COVID, she began investing more time in her paintings. Portraiture allows her to humanize her thoughts and emotions, focusing on the eyes as a lens into her soul.
Called dumb as a child and facing immense struggles later in life, Autumn always found it difficult to find her voice and wished she could communicate with others telepathically instead. She thinks in pictures instead of words, so her art provided an outlet to express herself through images and gestures.
Painting is a therapeutic process that allows her to work through her trauma and turn it into something beautiful. Her work is characterized by a brightly colored portrait with lines over top of the image to convey a subliminal message that incorporates a socio-political view of hers.
As a child, her grandmother took her to Winnebago tribe gatherings and ceremonies, instilling the values and history of her ancestors, personal experiences, her spirituality, and current and past socio-political events serve as the main inspiration for her art. Her most recent work depicts a Native American with a Trump hat on that says "Make America Native Again" to highlight the problematic history behind Trump's slogans and raise awareness for marginalized Indigenous people. But what makes Autumn's work uniquely special is that each of her paintings has the option to add on a special augmented reality effect that animates the picture through an app on your phone.
When looking at her portraits one day, she imagined how the person would move, and this inspired her augmented reality creations. She wanted to find a way to fully immerse her audience in her paintings, and augmented reality offered that additional layer of engagement. She admits that while each of her paintings has a specific meaning to her, she encourages others to come to their own understanding of her pieces in order to relate to her work.
With her new collection complete, she's had to navigate the business side of her brand, more recently with the press, photographers, legal matters, sales, and social media promotion, including on TikTok. With her studio in LA, she showcased her art in various galleries around the area, but be sure to check out her website, autumnlepla.com, for more of her work or to purchase any of her paintings.
Yeah, that sounds really interesting to me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I've never seen any augmented reality outside of video games, so it's really cool to see it in art.
Yeah. Celebrating artists in the present is just as important as celebrating the future generation. Much more prevalent prior to the COVID-19 crisis, the Scoop has historically been on the red carpet for a variety of LA film festivals. On this installment of Monday Memories, let's take you back in Scoop history to before the pandemic. Past field host Max Geschwin takes you to the USC Scripter Awards, where an elite panel of industry insiders lend recognition to some of the year's best screenwriting. Take it away, Max.
Hey everyone, this is Max Geschwind with The Scoop, and we're here at the USC Scripter Awards, where we're going to speak with some screenwriters nominated tonight in film and television. Stay tuned. Tell me about what that process was like working with Joe on Black Panther.
You know, he's an incredibly talented writer. I actually met him before even the film. He was part of our Marvel Studios Writers Program, and we became friends, and I'm just a fan of his work. And when there was an opportunity on Black Panther to bring in a writer, Joe was the first call I made. And I think he and Ryan Coogler really found a really good energy and a really good partnership. And the movie's special because of it.
When my agents approached me and they said, "Oh, you know, Barry, would you mind considering putting yourself on tape for this?" I'm like, "Considering for Barry Jenkins, I'll do it."
Yeah.
And so, and then I got a call within about 24 hours. Actually, I auditioned for the role of Frank, which is played lovingly by Michael Beach, but I got offered Joseph, the father, and I thought that was an incredible gift.
Do you have any projects right now that you're working on that are in development?
I do. I'm adapting a French crime novel for Amazon Studios. And then, of course, I've got what we in the household refer to as irons in the freezer, all those other little projects I'm pushing forward. And I've got a novel coming out in June, and I'm in negotiations to adapt my own novel.
The book, The Looming Tower by Lawrence Wright, was one of my favorite books and had been one of my father's favorite books, and I read it to him several times even when he was dying. And so when they got the show going, Danny knew that I would be an asset just because I knew the book inside and out.
And you're here because Leave No Trace is nominated for Adapted Screenplay. Tell me how that feels for one of your films to be nominated here at this show specifically.
Oh, that's fantastic. I mean, it's really a special thing because it's about adaptation, which is not what the ordinary events are. And I think that's such a special alchemy that happens between a novel and a screenplay.
It's a huge honor to be able to explore the world that Margaret Atwood created. The Handmaid's Tale is an incredible privilege. She's kind of our guiding star through everything we do, and even though a lot of the book has already been shown on screen, we constantly go back to the book for inspiration. Some of the voiceover this episode that we're nominated for tonight is directly from the book. So we try really hard to be responsible to the world that she's created and what we do on screen.
And that's a wrap here at the USC Scripter Awards. Thanks for watching.
Wow. It's so fascinating to look back and see what was popular just a few years ago.
I agree. But what are the hot button issues of today, Alyssa? Poverty, debt, social class, you're familiar with murder. In addition to being buzzwords of the cultural conversation, they are all words that can be used to describe Netflix's new TV series and global phenomenon, Squid Game.
Released on September 17th, 2021, Squid Game has already broken several records by being one of the most watched shows on Netflix within the first week, and is set to become the most watched Netflix TV series in history in any language.
Now, why is this Korean horror show so popular, you might ask? Well, there are several poignant themes throughout the show, such as the discussion of social class, gender roles, displacement, meaning of life and death, capitalism, and success. The show itself is a grand metaphor for society and how people are willing to do anything to escape poverty and the unfairness of the system.
Non-English speaking shows rarely break the US viewing charts. Squid Game's global appeal may have quite a bit to do with these resonant themes of oppression and financial inequality.
Not only does this show have a tremendous cultural impact and bring awareness to the stark wealth disparities in society, but it has also brought a global perspective by bringing Korean culture and media to the table. With Parasite's Best Picture win in 2020 and now Squid Game's chart-topping success, it is amazing to see a Korean show reach such mainstream success across the globe. The creator of Squid Game worked tirelessly for 10 years to get his pilot sold to studios, but no one would bite. To see an artist suffer in the same system he wants to criticize definitely has a rich layer of irony to it. I watched episode 1.
I can't believe you didn't binge the whole thing. I watched it in less than a week.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
All right, everyone. We're about to go on break, but thank you for joining us here at The Scoop.
Coming up after the break, how technology and entertainment can collide, a breakdown of all the hottest entertainment events on campus, and a panel discussion with USC students about the realities of life as an intern.
Don't go anywhere because you're watching The Scoop.
Public service announcement from the United States government. There may be goblins hiding in your house. If your home security isn't good enough, goblins could get into your house so they can find easy, accessible food. Do you really want goblin ectoplasm all over your beautiful home? What about the new sheets you just got? Better be careful. Studies have shown that if you have a goblin infestation in your house, you should round all of them up, put them in a pot, and bake them in the oven at 400 degrees.
You love Uber Eats, the #1 app for getting your favorite local and chain foods delivered right to your door. Uber Eats is proud to present Uber Feeds. We want to go all the way for our customers, which is why we will have Uber Feeds delivery drivers literally feed your meal to you. Safety is our #1 priority, which is why every driver is vaccinated. Better yet, download now and get a delivery and feeding absolutely free. Uber Feeds, stuffed in more ways than one.
Feeling overwhelmed by school? Homework assignments keep piling up? Crippled by existential despair? Caffeine not cutting it? Well, then I have a solution for you. Procrastination.
Wow, so how does it work?
Simply take your work and stop doing it. Play video games. Go on your phone. Endless possibilities.
Boy, howdy do I feel relaxed. Thanks, procrastination.
Welcome back to The Scoop. I hope you missed us. As you watch us on your TV or phone, you're probably using the internet to connect with us. For a lot of artists, the internet is a way to connect and share their works.
When was the last time that you went to an art museum? And when was the last time you took a moment to look at pieces of art? Many people struggle to enjoy or appreciate art because after a few moments of looking at a piece, they feel bored and move on. However, social media platforms, especially TikTok, are rapidly changing the way in which people engage with art.
Artists are no longer simply creating their works and then selling them. Instead, many artists in the modern age have begun to curate online followings in order to grow their career. This shift in the visual art world opens new doors for artists and audiences alike.
Normally, audiences are able to see the finished product. However, with apps such as TikTok, they are now able to see the entire creative process. Artists spend copious amounts of time creating videos in which they capture their artistic journey in order to let their audiences in on their craft. Due to this sharing of work, viewers are then able to feel more connected to the pieces. Additionally, some artists argue that viewers are also then able to appreciate their work even more.
Artists now approach their work and content in new ways. Some rely on creating an online presence in order to gain traction. Others create online stores with merchandise that they create for their followers. Some even go as far as to create content that their followers suggest. This new digital relationship between the artist and the audience is new and constantly developing. However, it is immensely beneficial for artists who may not have gotten their work seen otherwise.
Additionally, the sharing of art through online spaces has helped to fight the long-held belief that digital art is somehow lesser than other visual art forms. By letting audiences see the process, they are better able to see that it is a difficult art form like all others. Therefore, the effect of the digital age taps into all aspects of life, including the visual arts. The way in which I've interacted with art is forever changed thanks to the internet.
Yeah, that sounds pretty cool to me.
Yeah, I love it.
From October 8th to November 28th, Taiwan Contemporary Culture Lab held its 2021 annual Future Media Arts Festival. This year's exhibition includes 24 artistic works created by 23 artists from Taiwan and abroad. In the Future Media Arts Festival, artists create works using technologies, exploring contemporary issues of culture such as misinformation, weaknesses of current social media, or Japanese colonialism in Taiwan.
These artistic works presented in the exhibition are presented in a variety of visual forms, from audiovisual media, theaters, installation performances, lectures, to seminars.
In the exhibition, The Glass Room Misinformation Edition, German NGO Tech explores the concept of misinformation in modern social media, exposing how fake news is spread online and is used as a tool of political propaganda.
Another work, Crystal Seeding, presented in the form of theater experience, is created by Taiwanese artists. Their work, using sugar as 3D printing material to create their sets and puppets with robotic arms, explores the prominence of the sugar industry in Taiwan during the Japanese colonial era and how vital it was to Taiwan's economic strength.
Initiated by the Taiwan Living Arts Foundation in 2018, the Taiwan Contemporary Culture Lab, or C-Lab, provide chances for rising artists, engineers, and contemporary thinkers to creatively express their voices regarding current issues around the world. Through these kinds of exhibitions, an image of how our future would look like is depicted by various creative minds, where a culturally diverse collection of viewpoints express their creativity via various emerging media forms.
From this kind of festival, where contemporary art meets technological innovations exhibition, goers are able to see the various kinds of innovative ideas arising among the technological industry, as well as enlightened by the creative speakers of the art industry.
That sounds like a really cool event to me.
Yeah, sounds awesome.
Let's move on to some news even closer to home.
It's Monday, so we've got the whole week ahead of us. That's more than enough time to see a movie, go to the museum, or support your fellow Trojans. Let's start up by checking in what's new on USC's campus this week. Here are a few campus events going on this week. On Monday, November 8th, check out a screening of indie darling Hive at the Ray Stark Theater that tracks a female beekeeper during the war in Kosovo. On Tuesday, November 9th, check out an IMAX screening of Night of Kings at the Robert Zemeckis Center off Figueroa. The next day, check out interactive media arts event Family Pictures, which details several photographers explaining the influences behind their work and photography. Finally, from November 10th to 14th, be on the lookout for screenings as part of the prestigious AFI Film Festival in the historical TCL Chinese Theater, which, for the first time, boasts 115 titles, 51% of which are directed by women and 40% of which are directed by BIPOC filmmakers. But while those filmmakers are successful in producing their work, they almost certainly started as interns. Let's check in with Jonathan on the state of film industry internships.
Joining us tonight, we welcome very special guests, interns in the fields of development and production. These two USC students are paving the way to working in the entertainment industry. Graduating soon, we're lucky enough to sit down with these two students and pick their brains about careers, life, and art. So here today I have Kevin and Claire. Kevin, how about you tell us a bit about yourself?
Yeah, I'm a senior. I'm in the business school, actually. I used to be in BCA, but I'm just business now. I've interned at a number of companies. I started at 2 small production companies going into my sophomore year, then worked at a management company, and then worked at 2 more production companies, then recently worked at an agency, CAA, and right now I'm working as an assistant to an entertainment lawyer.
Right, and how about you, Claire?
So I have not had as much experience in the industry, but I worked at a small development company called Yale House Entertainment over Zoom, so over like 2 summers ago and through fall of my junior year. And now I'm working as that producer who owns the company. I'm working as his assistant.
Wow. And what do you two like the most about working at development companies?
Should I
go first?
Interesting. I think just exposure to material. I think it's cool, especially being a college student, to be able to read what is being submitted out there, because you are getting firsthand exposure to what writers are submitting, what agencies are submitting, and then also getting to know people at the company and just having sort of that exposure to film and television for the first time in the actual industry.
Yeah, absolutely. I think my favorite thing so far has been just getting to know more about screenwriting, honestly. I'm a cinema and media studies major. I have not taken a screenwriting class, but I feel like I got a really good crash course in what to look for in terms of reading pilots, reading like 60-minute, 30-minute, and full-length pilots, full-length films. So like in terms of that, it's been like just such a good experience because I feel like I don't really need to take a screenwriting class. But yeah, also like was just mentioned, just the experience of being there with working professionals and like learning just so much from them. Yeah. I think that's the most valuable thing.
You know, one thing that I've found in every single profession, there is always that one thing that no one wants to do because it's the most tedious thing in the world. What would that be in terms of developing a film?
I don't know. There's so much. I can't speak on behalf of sort of people above my pay grade that I've worked for. I mean, in terms of the internships themselves, although you're reading a lot of material that's coming in, a lot of material, unfortunately, is not that great. So you're going to have to go through a lot that you don't want to read. So the internship in itself most likely will be tedious, but it's still a really good experience. I know, like working as an assistant as well, a lot of it is tedious, but everyone sort of has to go through it if you want to go down that route. But having the exposure and knowing where you want to go or where you're going to end up going, I think gives you the motivation to get over that tedious stuff.
Yeah, totally. I think the most tedious thing for me would be reading scripts that have a lot of like grammatical mistakes. Because that's something that my boss was like, if a script has a bunch of like spelling errors or whatever, that's like, you know, not the best indication. So in terms of that, like that type of thing, like I have read a lot of scripts that I don't love, or scripts that have a lot of like very obvious errors in them and stuff like that. That's probably the least fun part of the job.
Yeah, that's surprising to me because you think with all the time that someone would spend making a script, you would expect them to, I don't know, spell check it.
Yeah.
Is that like a common problem?
No, it's not a common problem.
Okay.
Honestly, I barely ever see it, which is why it's so surprising when it comes up.
Yeah.
But it does happen every once in a while, and I mean, I think that's one of the things about development that is like something that can seem so obvious to some people can be missed by other people. There's a lot of things that go into development of any type of media, and it's a lot to think about every single thing that needs to be done, which is kind of like the job of a producer. So in terms of that, it's like that's why working so closely with them is such a good experience.
Right. Now, besides looking over scripts, what are some of the day-to-day duties that you guys have come accustomed to?
Yeah, so I mean, it really depends on who you're working for, where you're at, whatever it is. It can be such a variety of tasks, and especially working as an assistant, I'm sure she can attest to this as well. It's so random. But something that's pretty common that I've seen across production companies or development internships is a lot of stuff involving grids, which is just basically creating lists of, it can be anything from like creating a list of directors for a certain project or creating a list of writers or producers or whatever it might be. Grids are pretty popular in that sense. I don't know, but it can really vary. I've had to sort of like help around the office with a lot of administrative stuff when I've been in person at internships and things like that, but I don't know if you can add on to that.
Yeah, so my internship was mostly over Zoom, so I haven't had a lot of like that personal or that in studio, whatever, experience yet. But, you know, there's been a couple of times where I've had to like hop on a call real quick and just talk about something like really random, you know, like, what do you think about this concept? Stuff like that. And I just have to like, you know, off the top of my head, kind of think of stuff. That's what's been happening a couple of times. I also work as a personal assistant. So in terms of that, I get a lot of very just like random things, like my boss is getting married soon. So I've had to start making arrangements for him and his company here while he's off getting married and having fun. Things like that, yeah.
I do have one quick question before we have to go. What is one piece of advice that you would give a future intern?
Yeah, I think follow your taste no matter what. You might be at a production company that it doesn't align with their taste or whatever it might be, but at the end of the day, it's all subjective, and all you have is yourself for that, so you have to follow your taste, and yeah.
Awesome.
Oh my God, I was going to say something so similar. I was going to say that your opinions do matter, and especially if people are like asking for what you think of a script, tell them. You know, if you don't like something, don't be afraid to say you don't like it. If you love something, definitely you want to do it.
Awesome. Thank you very much. Goodbye.